So we're holding in Siman Samach Beis, which is a short Siman. It's a hemshech of the last Siman, really. He was talking about the Amalekim that are in the midst of Klal Yisrael, and he says it's only the neshama that was exchanged. So he uses this idea to explain this famous Rambam. And let's read it inside. Because of a Rambam zal b'igeres teman. The Rambam says, "V'kvar hivtichanu haboyer yisbarach," that Hashem has promised us like someone who goes into an agreement of arvus, which is an agreement to guarantee a loan. So the same way Hashem has guaranteed us, and a guarantee from Hashem, who could ask for more than that? He says, he let us know, shekol mi she'amad al har Sinai, any yid who is standing by Har Sinai, shehem ma'aminim b'nevuas Moshe Rabbeinu olav shalom, b'chol ma sheba al yadoi, that any yid who stands by Har Sinai and believes in Moshe Rabbeinu and all the things that Moshe brought down to us, heim uvneihem uvnei vnei amad olam, they and their children and their children's children forever will believe. I guess you have to read it like this: shehem ma'aminim, they will believe b'nevuas Moshe Rabbeinu, heim uvneihem uvnei vnei amad olam. How do you know that? Shekein Omer HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisbarach. It says in the Torah, "V'gam b'cha ya'aminu l'olam." In you they will believe forever. L'fichach yesh l'das. Therefore, the Rambam says we must know shekol mi shenata miderech hadas hanesuna b'mayimad ahu. Anyone who departs from that Torah that was given in Har Sinai, she'eno mizera hanashim mohem, that he's not a descendant of those people. V'chein Amru Razal, this is what Chazal say, Al kol mistapik b'nevuah, lo yamdu avoisav al Har Sinai. Anyone who is mistapik, who has a suffix about Amunah, about nevuah, his fathers, his grandfathers did not stand by Har Sinai. Ad kan l'shoyin Rambam Zal. These are the words of the Rambam. And by the way, in the Shelas version of the Igeres Rambam, he says that where's this Chazal the Rambam quotes, right? Or it says, I'll call him mistapik b'nevuah lo yamdu avoisav al Har Sinai. Where's that Chazal? So he says there's really no makor in Chazal for that, except for in the Medrash HaGadol. The Medrash HaGadol is a Medrash that was written in Yemen, and it came to us from Yemen, but nobody knows for sure if it really dates back to Chazal at all. Maybe it's someone later on who compiled it, and it could be Taka that the Rambam wrote this letter to Yemen, right, in his time. The Medrash HaGadol may have been written later, and they may have used the Rambam to write that Medrash HaGadol. So there's no real makor for the Chazal now. It could be the Rambam had a Chazal that we don't have. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that the Chazal that we have today, the Midrashim we have today, we don't have such a
like Zohar, like the Zohar.
Yeah. So there's some things but on the other way around, saying the Rambam didn't have the Zohar and we have it. You're saying that the opposite example. I'm saying that the Rambam may have had Midrashim that we don't have. Okay, Achen, yesh chiluk bein divrei Rambam ve'Rashba hanal. So, but before he goes on, he obviously he's explaining the Rambam the same way that he explained the Rashba and the same way that he explained the Zera Amalek. He's saying these people who are not Mizera Hanashim Lahem, the Rambam is claiming anybody who doesn't believe in Moshe Rabbeinu is not from Klal Yisrael. He's saying really they are. Physically speaking, they are. They have parents, grandparents. They go back to Klal Yisrael, right? They're regular Jews with Yichus. But the pshat is that their neshama was switched. That's how he's implying. He's explaining it the same way. Okay, now Achen yesh chiluk bein divrei Rambam ve'Rashba now. There's a difference between the Rambam and the Rashba. The Rambam kasav al minim she'enim mizera Yisrael v'lo yamdu al avoisam al Har Sinai. The Rambam just says that they're not from the Yidden. They didn't stand by Har Sinai, but they could be from other people. They could be from Esav or from Amalek or who knows where they're from, right? The Rashba kasav shafil mizera ha'umois einam. The Rashba is implying and saying these people are not even from the Goyim. El me'ois and shadim v'lilim. They're shadim. They're demons. So al kapanim, but at least one common denominator we see that ein litmoya al divrei hazohar hakadosh hanal sheyimatzu b'Yisrael ke'elu sheyilachmu neged melech haMashiach. Back to Reb Shaul Brach's kasha, we don't have to be surprised that they're going to be Jews who fight against Mashiach. V'yazru l'goy, they help Gog and Magog. Ki b'vadai yiyu me'elu aminim ba'apikorsim u'malchus aminis. That these people that fight against Mashiach, they're going to be from the minim, they're going to be from the people of the Zionists, the Chayaloisav, she'ena min nishmas Yisrael el min nishmas akum. That their neshama doesn't come from Klal Yisrael, it comes from Goyim, v'amalek, kafidi v'Rambam, v'Zohar HaKadosh. Oy, mishadim v'lilim, lefidi v'Rash Bazal. They could be even worse. They could be from shadim. Umitzad haleda, that as far as the physical birth, their hereditary origin, dinam ki Yisrael. Biologically, they're Jews, right? Kivin shavusayim b'Yisrael. V'aleim soivev kavanas haZohar HaKadosh. That's what the Zohar means when it says sheyu mitzcham k'nechoshes. That they'll have a forehead, they'll have like brazenness, like brass, like copper. Lilchoim neged Yisrael, to fight against the Jewish people in Melech HaMashiach. V'yazru l'goy, the help goy. Aval yoshte b'shamayim yiskach aleim, up in Shamayim Hashem will laugh at them. K'moshe omer hakasiv al goy v'chayaloisav. Like in capital base Tehillim it says yoshte b'shamayim yiskach, Hashem will laugh at goy. So I just wanted to bring up an interesting point about this Rambam. The Rambam is in the Igeres Teiman, and he's writing this to the Jews of Teiman, right? When they had a couple of problems there. They had the king of Yemen was forcing them to accept Islam, and they had a false Mashiach. They had different problems going on. The Rambam was writing them a letter to be menachem them, to tell them, don't worry, Hashem is in control. You're going to stay on the derech. You're going to be hidden. Everything's going to be good, right? So what's this nechama? According to this, Bishlam, if you don't have the Satmar Rebbe, you just learn the Rambam Kipshutai. The Rambam is saying, don't worry, every Yid who stood by Har Sinai is going to be B'cha Yaminu L'Olam. They're going to believe in Hashem forever. They're going to believe in Moshe Rabbeinu. You won't have any problems, right? And if anybody who's not, don't worry, he was never a Yid to begin with. Okay, that sounds like a good nechama. Mashenkin, according to the Satmar Rebbe, it means that the neshama was switched. So that means you never know what's going to happen, right? Every moment, something could change. A Yiddish family, a Jewish mother, a Jewish father get together, have children, and all of a sudden the child could have a neshama of a Amaleki, or a Goy, or whatever, right? And they won't be Amdu Avos of Har Sinai. Spiritually speaking, they weren't descended from Har Sinai. So then where does that leave us? Like, how does that in the nechama to you? You understand what I'm asking? How does that help anybody? And Bichlal, the whole Haftach of the Rambam is not going to be it's a self-fulfilling statement. You're saying any Yid who doesn't believe in Moshe Rabbeinu, okay, lo yamdu avos lo Har Sinai. But physically speaking, yeah, just means that must be something switched inside his neshama. And you can switch it back, by the way. You could do tshuva, and you can come back. So then, physically speaking, the Rambam doesn't mean anything. So, look inside at the Igeres Teiman. I brought it here. Bottom paragraph here on page Kuf Chaf Hey. V'hi shoanu al eila hapsukim huamitim atem achenu. He says, rely on these psukim that I'm telling you, my brothers. V'lo yafchidchem temidus hashmadas v'tigboyers yidei soinenu v'chushas umosenu. Don't let the shmad that's continuing in Yemen and the power of the enemy and the weakness of our people, don't let that scare you. Why? That the purpose of this is to test the Jewish people and to purify them. That the purpose is that so that the only people who stay Jewish and believing are the people who are the most dedicated people, the Hasidim, the people who are the highest madrega, Yirei Hashem, Hazera HaTahar, the pure descendants, Ve'anaki, the clean descendants directly from Klal Yisrael. Asher Nemar Aleim, because it says regarding them in the Navi, Uvasridim Asher Hashem Korei, those remnants of Klal Yisrael that Hashem calls them. Ubir Shehem Achadim, he says that they're only going to be very few people, right? Basridim, Sridim sounds like only a few. Those are the people who are descended from those who stood by Har Sinai. And they heard the words of Hashem speaking. And the Bris Hashem, they lifted up their right hands in an oath to Hashem. The Kiblu al Atmam Lasois Velishmoya. They accepted on themselves to do and to hear. The Amru Nasta V'Nishma. The Kibluhu Aleim V'Alaboim Machreim. They accepted the Torah on themselves and on their descendants. Kemoisha Amru Lanu Uluvanenu Ad Olam. They said, it says, Hanis Taras Lashem Lokenu V'Aniglois Lanu Uluvanenu Ad Olam. To us and our children forever. Okay? Uchvar Arav Lanu. Here comes the part that the Rebbe quotes. Uchvar Arav Lanu Hashem Yisbarach. Hashem made a promise to us. V'dai boy Arav. It's enough to have His promise. V'hoydiyanu shekol misha amad maimin Har Sinai. Ya'aminu b'Moshe Rabbeinu v'chol ma she'amar. Anyone who stood by Har Sinai, they and their children will believe in Moshe Rabbeinu forever. For who Amru Isala, this is what Hashem says, Hinei anochi bo elecha be'av v'hanan, ba'avuri yishma'am b'dabri imach, v'gam b'cha yaminu l'olam. V'chach yivada. Therefore you should know, shekol mi sheyatz me'adas, and as soon as ma'amadahu, anyone who departs from that Torah, she'enu mizera ha'nashim lahem. He's not from those people. V'chein amru Rabbi Hussein Yuzal al kol mistapik b'Torahs Moshe lo amdu avoisav al Har Sinai. Yishmereinu Hashem v'yishmarchu min hastafik v'yarchik mi'aleichem hashibush v'amachshavos v'vias elav v'machsholos boy. So, what I want to show you is, I think this takes care of the problem, because the Rambam is not coming to give them a nechama. He's not coming to say, don't worry, your kids will stay from. Or don't worry, the people who are going off are not from the Yidden. All Yidden are going to stay Ma'aminim. I'm not saying that. He's saying that, according to the Rebbe, the neshama of a Yid could be switched with a Goy somehow, right? And you could have people in Klal Yisrael who are not Yidden, spiritually speaking, right? So the purpose of the tsaras, the people in Yemen asked the Rambam, why are we having such problems, right? Why are we having such decrees, anti-Semitic decrees? He says the purpose of that is to purify Klal Yisrael, so people like this should leave, because Hashem doesn't want them mixed into Klal Yisrael. So once they have that neshama, Hashem does this kind of a decree from the government in order to get these people out, so that eventually they'll filter out, and the true Hasidim Yirei Hashem will be the ones who stay behind. So that's how you'll explain it according to the Rebbe. Now there's another way to explain it, by the way. That it could be the Rambam means like this. The Rambam means different word. That you have to explain the words like this. Anybody who doesn't believe, he says, to explain the Rambam means she'eno mizera, that he's not all from zera ha'anashim lahem. There's something mixed in, because throughout history, Gerim have mixed into Klal Yisrael. Mm-hmm. So Gerim are good. They're people who also their neshamas were by Har Sinai, right? They also said Nasta v'Nishma. There's a famous story. The Ger Tzedek of Vilna said, I think he said Patatsky, right? He said that the among the nations of the world, when Hashem went around to the nations and he asked them if they want the Torah, so they all said no, right? But there were some individuals who said yes. So those are the Gerim. Those people are the Gerim. You ever heard that word? Yeah, so true. Pshat is that the people who come into Klal Yisrael, those are the people who are Ma'aminim. They also said Nasa v'Nishma. They come from a neshama that it was Asher Enenu Poi Hayoim, right? They're from Klal Yisrael.
But many Gerim are like Fasher Gerim.
Oh. So this is the problem, that a lot of people who came in, even if they were
like
true,
Trump's daughter.
All right, I'm talking about them.
But she's not Jewish. She doesn't keep Shabbos.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
But anyway, she was converted by a rabbi who was so modern, even the chief rabbi didn't recognize.
Okay, I don't want to get into this now. But the point is that there are people, even if they are true Gerim, but they bring in with them the yichus of their family. So in other words, their midos. The person, a Yid has to have certain midos. We find, let's say, Yid has Mesiras Nefesh for the Torah, right? That comes from Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu had Mesiras Nefesh to do the Akedah. Mm-hmm. We have the Kasha, right? They ask always, what's the big deal about the Akedah? Thousands of Yidden throughout the generations were Moiser Nefesh for the Torah. But the teretz is because that midah comes from the past.
What happens if a ger doesn't accept the shlosh shavuos? Or he doesn't know about it?
Yeah, because they don't have to teach gerim everything. They become ger.
But what happens if he knows about it, but he doesn't believe in it?
Yeah,
like in others from the good or the Mizrahi.
Okay, if he knows about it and doesn't believe in it, that's a problem. Yeah. Anyway, so listen. So if someone comes in, there have to be good midas. It says Rachmanim, Goyim Lechasadim, Baishanim. You didn't have certain good midas. So the pshat is, even though a ger comes in and he has those good midas, but in his yichus there are parts of him that don't, right? So that gets mixed in. So it surfaces later, just like a recessive gene. Someone could be, they could have black hair and their kids could have blonde hair, because back in their past they have someone who has the genes, right? So the word is over here. If Klal Yisrael would remain pure, the Rambam saying there's a havtacha. There's a havtacha that forever they'll believe in Moshe Rabbeinu, because they have those midas, they have the natiyah in their neshama to believe in him. But once some other genetics get mixed in, then you don't have the havtacha anymore. So the Rambam is explaining like this. He says when there's a government like the Yemenite government that brought these decrees and they wanted to force Jews to convert, right? Mm-hmm. What's the pshat? Why does Hashem bring such a thing? So Zak the Rambam, he says, Shezek kuloi l'nasois l'latara. The purpose is to purify us. Ad shelo yachziku b'das rak hachasidim yirei Hashem mizera Yaakov. To purify all the bad elements out of Klal Yisrael, so that the only ones who are left are the pure ones. Meaning, not that there can't be any Gerim. There are Gerim. But the point is the Gerim come with a mixture. In them, they have a mixture. They have a good element that causes them to want to be Jewish. But they also have a bad element that they're bringing in from their past. Hashem has to weed out the bad elements. Kind of like evolution. The bad ones, automatically, when they're in a government that's making a decree, or there's, let's say today you have a society with lots of Nisyonists, right? The Nisyonists pull away the bad ones, and the good ones are the ones who stay. So the Rambam is being menachem them. He's saying, don't think that this is just an accident, that there's a gzeira of the government. There's a reason for it. Hashem's doing it to purify Klal Yisrael until the point that anybody who goes off of the derech and he goes away from Torah, you'll know that he's not purely from Klal Yisrael. Whether it means doesn't mean he can't have any gerim in his past. Of course he can, but the point is that those impurities were filtered out. So if someone does go off, it means it's because of some of those impurities. So that's the alternative way to explain the Rambam. But again, the Rebbe is not explaining it that way. He's explaining it that we're talking about people who are, their yichus may be perfect, but their neshama that came into them was from somewhere else. And according to that, again, the pshat is the same. The Rambam's nechama is Hashem is bringing this gzeira to take out those types of neshamas.